Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Doris Hall James Indie Show. This evening we are featuring a legend. Father was a legend, son is a legend. I'd like to introduce to you Eddie Hollman Jr. the Third. Welcome, Eddie.
Hi, everybody. How do you do?
We always have to clap. Okay. All right, Eddie. I want to say thank you for accepting my invitation.
And thank you for having me.
Yeah, because it's been it's been such a very long time,
Mm-hmm.
and I have to say that you came to my home years and years ago. You were just a little kid. You
Mm-hmm.
were 3 years old, and Larry and I was living in Sicklerville.
Yeah, New Jersey.
And we haven't connected until a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to hear your story and all the things that you're now doing
Mm-hmm.
in the music world.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? The spotlight is on you, Eddie. So let's begin.
Oh, you know I'm shy. I'm not used to having
you're not
spotlight.
shy. The spotlight is on you. Tell us about how all of this began.
How all this began?
Yeah, how did all the music begin?
Okay, it began
Uh-huh.
in my mother's belly,
Okay, okay.
uh, being
DNA,
with
right?
her being in the studio with my father at Frank Virtue's
Frank on Broad Street.
on Broad Street, right? And at the
Okay.
time, my
Okay.
dad, Norman Harris, Ronnie Baker, and Earl Young, they were making records.
Okay.
And I heard those vibrations,
Mhm.
and that's where it started.
Okay.
And from there,
Uh-huh.
I knew that I loved music, but I didn't know that I liked the drums
Okay.
until I was about 4 or 5 years old. My father would have rehearsals at the house, and your husband, Mr. Fat Larry, was one of his drummers.
Okay.
And guys like Emmanuel Hakim and
Mhm.
Tiki Fullwood and all these guys. And what I loved was how they had the command of the band.
Okay. Okay.
Where they counted the stick is where the groove lied, and I dug that. So I wanted to be a drummer. So from that point on, started banging on everything that I can get my hands on. But
Okay.
prior to that, I always heard melodies. My mother said that I would rock in the chair and
Yeah.
just hum tunes, and all the musicians were amazed. She said, "Do you know the intervals this kid is humming? He's got a great ear. He's humming some complicated melodic stuff." So from about 5 to 11, I loved the drums, but I didn't get a drum set until I was 11 that particular
All right.
Christmas.
Mhm.
And, I was kind of a strange kid growing up, so
Well, let's talk about the drums. Let's talk about that. Gilbert, I need you over here.
mm-hmm,
Gilbert, I need you over here. Let's talk about the drums, man.
mm-hmm.
Now, the drums, that's your major instrument.
Yeah,
Do
that's
you
my
play-
main instrument.
Do you play any other instruments?
Well, prior to playing the drums,
Mhm.
I was a bass player
Okay.
first.
Okay.
I had a bass,
Mhm.
and but I wanted to play drums.
Okay.
So there was a kid around the corner that had a drum set that was really beat up real bad,
Mhm.
and I traded him the bass for those drums.
Okay.
And those drums were in such bad condition, they had to be thrown in the trash a month later. So my parents bought me a basic 3-piece Buddy Rich kind of knockoff drum set.
Mhm.
And I had that set when I was 11. And when I got to be 12, I started playing for the church. It was a church at 69th and Ogans, West Oak Lane Church of God, Reverend Shepherd. I played in that choir and played in that church up until I was maybe about 17. And that same building, that's where Terry Price is in now.
Oh, is that the church?
That's the church. It's a different ministry, but the same building.
Okay.
So when I got to be about maybe 13, my 13th birthday,
Mhm.
I wanted these Billy Cobham Tama drums, and they were $2,000. And my father said, "Look, it's kind of hefty, man." So I saw a lawnmower from Sears for $79.99, and it had the bag attached to it in the back. So I told my mom, I said, "Look, if y'all get this lawnmower, I'll get the drums." So she said, "That's a good deal. I'm gonna do that." So for my 13th birthday, they bought me a lawnmower, and this is in April of 1980. And I get the lawnmower, I cut all the grass in the neighborhood, and then I got a paper route with the Daily News. And one of my paper route customers, she lived on Vernon Road at the time, was Patty LaBelle. She lived on Vernon Road on the corner, in back of my middle school that I went to. So I would cut all the grass all summer. I would get up 6 in the morning, cut the grass, and then I would go to Better Break Music Camp. And, hang out with my music buddies and, take lessons, play in the orchestra, the big band and the concert band. And then I would come home and deliver my papers. And then Friday I would collect all my money. So by the time September came, I had enough money to buy the drum set that I wanted, the cases, and get my school clothes. So the following year, when I turned 14, there's a gentleman in town named Tony Williams, plays the saxophone, and he had a youth big band, the Stanton Teenage Jazz Band, and I met some guys in that organization, and we put together a band. And at the time, Pieces of a Dream was really starting to take off with Grover Washington, and they came out of Tony Williams' situation. They came out of Tony's Stanton Teenage Jazz Band. So we put our band together, started rehearsing, all the Grover Washington songs, Dexter Wansell, Pieces of a Dream, all the Spyro Gyra, all the smooth jazz at that time. So I used to go to the Cafe de Elegance to Steve Green's jam session.
That was in Mount Airy?
Used to have up in Mount Airy.
Okay.
So I asked the owner, I said, "Look, I have a band, and we're really good." He said, "How good are you?" I said, "I think we're good as Pieces of a Dream." I had to tell the fed, try to get the gig. So he said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, I'm serious." So he says, "Okay, why don't you come for audition?" So I go to rehearsal the next day. I said, "Guys, don't do nothing Saturday. Tell your girlfriends we can't go out. We got an audition at the Cafe de Elegance." "How did you get that?" I said, "I went and asked." So he says, "You asked, right?" I said, "Yeah." So we went that Saturday, did the audition. Not only did we pass the audition, but we got $50 a piece for auditioning and made $50 every other weekend playing at this club. And that's where my playing and professional thing started. I was actually playing in nightclubs and doing recording sessions at 13 and 14 for other people before my father had any idea that I could really play.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because he was looking for drummers, and he didn't look at you, right?
Nope.
Well, so what went on? Tell me what.
Well, he would have drummers come by, and I could smoke most of them guys that he had coming through. So one guy, I used to purposely try to intimidate the guys. So when they would set up for the audition, I would have my music stand downstairs, and I would put up this real complicated, hard drum exercise from school on the stand. And the guy would be like, "Oh, Mr. Hollman, I can't read that." "Oh, don't worry about it. Can you play the pocket?"
Play the pocket. Right.
So he was, the cat was all right. But my mom said, "You know what? Your son plays better than all these guys that you got auditioning. He's already playing in clubs. Why don't you give him the gig?" Besides, you could pay him less money
Mm-hmm.
and give me the rest.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And my pop said, okay. So he gave me the gig,
Mm-hmm.
and he said, but you got to get through my man first. I said, who's that? Doug Payne. That's he's in
Yeah,
charge.
well, look at this here. Let me go back, because he's on here now. Okay? Let me see. Let me see if he's on here. It's Doug Lyons. Doug Lyons. No. But Doug Payne is asking me to ask you something.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to ask you right now. What did you do at the Air Force Base when Doug Payne was the music director?
Payne saved me from getting beat up by my dad.
Oh.
My dad was going to give me a 2-piece chicken dinner that night. What happened was, I was watching MTV, right? And, it was all the rock and roll guys twirling their sticks. I used those big marching sticks, 3S's, because they were easy to twirl. So we were playing this song by Van Halen called Jump. Twirling the stick. The stick went out my hand and hit an officer's wife upside the head, like, BOW! My father turned around and did this, gave me that ice grill. That, you're going to get your ass whooped when you get home. Right? So Doug and the band laughed so hard in the dressing room that my father had to laugh. And they laughed all the way home from Jersey to Germantown to drop Doug and the guys off. And he laughed at me all the way home. He said, that was funny. You do that again, I'll kill you. But yeah, that's the story.
Okay, Doug. Okay, now we know the story, because he was texting me, said, don't forget to ask him that. Well, let's go back a little bit and let's talk about what do you consider the most important tools, instruments, when you're doing your productions?
For me, it's based around the piano and the chords, because that's what I hear first.
Okay.
I hear the chord structure first, then I hear the bass line. Actually, being a drummer, that's the last thing I hear in the song.
The drums.
It's the drums.
Okay.
And then after I get the drums, I get the melody together. I come up with the bridge always comes first lyrically, then the hook, then the verses. Or a lot of times I'll get a co-writer to help me with the verses. But it's the keyboards, and then it's the bass and the drums for me. But I say the keyboards because the keyboards is not only percussive, but it's also melodic. It's the mother and father of music.
Okay.
It's sonics. Music is just sonic. It's a sound. It's an expression. Music is vibration.
Okay.
And you can hear songs from any vibration, whether it's a melody, a rhythm, or an idea or a sound.
Okay. Now, when you were younger, did you record for Philly World Records?
I didn't record for them, but what happened was I was offered a gig from one of the rostered artists that they had. Eugene Wild was getting ready to go on tour, and I was asked to join the band, and it was my senior year of high school, and I was contemplating dropping out, and I didn't drop out through the intervention of my father. My dad said, look, these gigs are going to be here. Finish your education. You just got accepted in the Berkeley College of Music. So, finish off your diploma. And when you're on break or something, you can go on the road. So I messed up in Algebra 2. And I almost didn't graduate.
Oh, okay.
So my father went and talked to the teacher and says, if he makes up the assignments, can you walk down the aisle? And, and that worked out. So fast forward 20 years later, my middle son, Tyrus, was having problems in Algebra 2 and was in jeopardy as well. And he was going to Bodine International Affairs High School. So I had to go talk to this teacher. I go see this teacher, and he looks at me, and I look at him. You look familiar. I said, you look familiar too. He said, your name Ed Hollman? I said, yeah. I said, oh no.
It was the same teacher?
Mr. Malloy, yeah, it was the same teacher. I'm going to talk to a guy that my father talked to 20 years prior about the same subject, Algebra 2.
Okay.
So my son does well, graduates, and this same teacher, Mr. Malloy, became Teacher of the Year that year. And this same guy was so cool because he had moved from Florida when he started teaching at Creative and Performing Arts when I was there. And he rode the H-bus with us to school. Real cool Southern old school guy with a heavy drawl.
Isn't that something? 20 years later.
20 years later. So, thanks, Dad, for making me stay in school.
Yeah. Now, I know that it was a difference, like maybe 10, 20 years between you and your dad, but by any chance, did you use any of the same musicians that your dad did when you doing your production?
Actually, my first work in the studios, my father didn't know that I could record. So I had a neighbor named Frosty Cornergate. He had a wife named Mickey, gospel singers. They wanted to make an album. So they enlisted Morris Bailey as their producer. And they knew that I played and, studied and knew what I was doing. So they brought me to the studio. And on the session, it was Morris, was Lamb Chops on the keyboards, Ronnie Baker on bass, and Norman Harris on guitar.
Super team, yeah.
And these guys were like the MFSB rhythm section dudes. So Morris says, hey, little boy,
A deep voice,
you know what you doing? I said, yeah. I said, yes, sir. So he said, I'm going to tell you something.
Okay.
Can you play to a click track? I said, I play to a metronome. He said, okay. We going to cut these tracks. Now, you young.
That's just how I used to talk.
And I don't like young kids on sessions. I like experience. So I'm going to give you 2 takes. If you don't cut these tracks in 2 takes, not only am I taking you in the back and spank you, but you ain't going to be coming in the studio no more. So, Lamb Chops is like, get a boy a try.
Okay.
And Norman is like, oh, man, these damn kids. So we go in the studio. We cut the tracks. I cut 3 tunes in about 30 minutes, 1 take.
Okay.
And the engineer, Glenn Barrett, was like, hold up.
Okay.
1 take, man. He said, we got grown men in here that don't play as steady as this kid, right? So from that point on, Morris would use me all the time. He would get tapes from Sylvia Robinson all the way up to All Platinum in Jersey, and I'd be playing on them songs and demos that they had, and then he turned me on to Weldon McDougal.
Okay.
And Weldon would put me in the studio with Jimmy Williams and Eli and all the MFSB guys, and we would be cutting for Janie Bradford out in California. The tapes would come in, and Janie was Berry Gordy's secretary up at Motown, and she co-wrote Money. And she still writes.
Okay.
And, she doesn't always get things placed, but tapes would come in, and me and the boys going, we cut. But that's how I started, in the studios. And then my dad did a gospel recording when I was about maybe 15. And I played on that with Lamb, Norman, and Ronnie. And because he heard me on the other stuff, he trusted me to cut that stuff. And then, I became a session drummer because a lot of engineers like to record me because they could leave the console and go to the bathroom or take a coffee break because I played even.
Yeah, you played.
I had an even tone
Mm-hmm.
when I struck the drums. So he didn't have to go compress or control the mixing board. He could get up and I could just play and the whole
Yeah.
mixing tone would
Yeah.
be even.
Yeah.
And if they wanted to edit something before they had copy, cut, and paste with the computers, they could cut the tape at the intro, take the section that they want, and paste it together, and the time and the groove would never
Still be
change
there.
without a click track.
Oh,
A lot of guys
okay.
can't do that.
Okay.
I mean, a lot of top professionals can't do that. But I learned, from the old guys that once the vocalist establishes where they want that pulse,
Okay. Okay.
once you get
Okay.
that
Yes. Yes.
and you count it off, bop, 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 that's where that track stays.
Mm.
It won't move because that reference is locked into my mind
Yeah.
and in my internal clock. It's called an internal click track. Like when you listen to old Motown, Stax, Philly International, no tracks. Once they agree what the groove was, that's where the groove was.
That's very good. So let's say hi to our Facebook fans. Okay, we want to go here. Hafez, Shirley, and Rosa Richardson. Rosa, thank you,
Hey
guys.
Rosa, how
Thank
you doing?
very
You are a
much.
big supporter
She is
of
a
us
big
all.
support. Yes,
And
she's
every
always there.
time I post something,
Mm-hmm.
she has very positive feedback. And
Yes.
thank you so much.
She's
Even though I've
always
never
there.
met you, I feel like I've known you.
Rosa's always there. Shirley and Harfez Young. I thank you. Harfez sends in his music for it to go on Philly Live Radio.
Oh, hi, man.
So,
How do you do?
He does good. Hi, Shirley Carter. Good evening to you.
Yeah,
Mac-
she's another one.
She's another one.
That I recognize her name. Whenever I post something, Shirley Carter likes. Thank you, Shirley.
And we have Matt Green.
Matt Green's another
He's
one.
another one. He's always there. Thanks, Matt. And Jessica Lorraine Stanley. Hi, cuz. How you doing?
How you doing, sweetie pie?
And she's saying, good evening, Shirley, Matt, Jessica. Oh, no, I'm saying that. But anyway, Jessica, thank you for joining in. Doug Lyons.
Doug, hey Doug, you've been through a lot lately,
Yeah.
and you've been in my prayers.
Yeah.
I've
Yes.
been where you've been, and brother, you gonna come back 10 times stronger. God bless you.
God bless you, Doug. And Jessica says, good evening, Doris, Gil, and Eddie. I'm creating my watch party now. Thank you, cuz. I know you do that.
Cool.
Doug says, good to see you.
Good to see
Good
you
to
too,
see you.
Doug Lyons.
Okay.
You keep your chin up. You're a strong brother.
Yes. And then we have Matt. He says, hi, Doris and Gil. Hi, Eddie Hollman III.
Hi.
Okay. Pat Atkins. Denise, thanks for always being there and supporting the indie show. Shirley says, sharing some music history. Shirley Carter. Beverly Holloway joined. Hi, Beverly.
Hi.
Khadijah Renee joined.
Hey, sweetie.
Yeah.
I ain't seen her in years.
Really?
The jazz girl.
Yeah. Khadijah Renee.
Yeah.
And then we have Patricia Atkins. Good evening, Doris and Mr. Hollman. Beverly Holloway says again, good evening, Doris Hall, James, and Eddie Hollman.
Hi.
Okay. Harfez says, hi, Doris and Gil, Eddie Hollman. I'm watching like the music you're doing. Keep the music and passion legacy flowing. God bless you all.
Absolutely.
Okay. Warren Wimley joined.
What's
Thank
up,
you.
Taters? That's
Thank
my
you.
man. I wanted to actually see Warren today, but my son couldn't get off work to drive me because I'm no longer driving now.
Okay.
And we had a good friend of ours that just passed away, keyboard player Terry Cash. His funeral was today, and I wanted to come here and miss that. And I just wanted to give my condolences to the Cash family
Yes.
and hope that you guys are comforted in your bereavement process.
Thank you. Okay, Pat Atkins, Denise, good evening, Doris, Eddie, and Gil. Shirley said again, love the song Jump. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Daryl Grant joined. Hi, Daryl.
Hey, my main man in Vegas. You know, Daryl was the one that spoke of you. That's how I wound up finding about who you were.
Oh, okay.
through
Okay.
through Daryl Grant. He's a good guy.
Yeah, he's a good guy. We've been friends for many, many
Hmm.
years, and I reconnected with him about a year ago.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
So hi, Daryl. Hope you're doing good. Rosa Richardson said, "Hi, Doris, Eddie Gill. So nice to see you, Eddie."
Likewise, thank you.
Okay. Butch Blade Ingram. Hi, Butch.
Hey,
How you
Butch.
doing?
I'm gonna tell you a story. Butch.
Okay.
Was the first person to have that allowed me to have a song recorded. My godfather James Solomon got me into writing.
Oh, is James Solomon your godfather?
He's my godfather.
Okay.
And
all
him and my
right.
father grew up
Hey,
together
James Solomon.
and are best friends. And they co-wrote all the early stuff that my dad did in the '60s. But there was an artist that Butch Blade had. His name was Edmund McDaniels, and Butch was part of a record label called Society Hill Records.
He still is, yeah.
And Butch liked the song I did called "Baby It's You," and he put it on Edmund, and that's how I got signed up with BMI as a writer and publisher back in '91 through Butch Blade.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, I call him the ex-NBA ball player. He looked like he played basketball.
He works really hard. Thank you.
He does.
And Jasmine Farrell joined. Hi, Jasmine. And Warren says, yo, Eddie, Taters, chicken.
Yeah, Taters checking in.
Okay.
Yeah, his nickname is Taters, for peeling the potatoes in the army.
Butch says again, Eddie is a great songwriter.
I'm working on it.
Okay, he has some good stuff, but you have to hear it. It's played on Philly Live Radio on Tuesday at 7 o'clock p.m. But he has a single that's really doing good called One and Only
Lover.
Mm-hmm. Okay, it's really doing good. I want to ask you about that.
Oh, sure.
When I finish this. Jasmine, hi, Jasmine. Sandra Coleman, hi, Sandra, how are you? And Sandra Coleman was doing some management for George Buzzy.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my big brother.
Yeah, okay. Then Prophet O'Teal, Gay, that's Winston Gay's wife.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I remember when Winston used to play for my dad back in the day.
Okay. Daryl Grant said, yes, he is. And then Khadijah said, good evening, Doris and Ed. Thanks for the stories for those of us who didn't know. Because, see, a lot of people, they don't know your story. And that's why you're here, because you want everybody to know. Okay? Pamela Renee Smith.
Hey, I'm going to tell you, I love her. That's my cut buddy. Pamela Renee Smith has been so supportive of me.
Yes.
She's responsible for helping me have a CD release party for this. When they were honoring Dexter Ronsell, she put that together and gave me my space and, promoted me, and she's very supportive of me, and she helps me. She comes down to my house when I have barbecues. I cook real good, you know what I'm saying? And she, her and another young lady, Valerie Steele. Val Steele, they are very supportive of me.
Okay.
And my other big sister, Valerie Ford.
Yeah, Valerie Ford.
Yeah, she gave me, I got my first passport for Valerie. Valerie took me everywhere.
Okay. Now, Pamela Renee Smith, she's hosting an event for us on October 29th for Winston Gay.
Yeah, over at the furniture place.
Yes,
Raymond Flanagan.
So she's the hostess.
October 29th?
Yes.
That's my parents' 53rd wedding anniversary.
Really? Okay. Yeah. And then we have Jimmy Quayle join.
Oh,
Jimmy Quayle.
That's my Atlantic City buddy. When I used to work all the jobs in the casinos, we would work opposite of each other at Bally's.
Okay.
And,
well,
in the showroom, them in the good old days when you could make a living playing music.
Okay. And then we have Gregory G-Man.
Hey,
John
man.
N.
Yeah, he's always on the book. Good guy.
Now, is G-Man, is he with the Blue Notes?
I believe so.
Because I think that's who he is. I think because I remember I talked to G-Man.
Ask him. He can hear you.
G-Man, can you hear me? Would you text me? Let me know. Are you the G-Man I talked to about the Blue Notes? Because the Blue Notes are coming on. They're going to end my show in November.
Right.
They're going to be the ones that end the show.
Okay.
Okay. Bassman, hi. Thanks for joining in. It's good to see you. Fred L. Brown. Hello, Fred. How are you?
Freddie Brown.
Yes, Freddie Brown. Michelle, now I can't say her name, and I know this is my daughter-in-law. Neves. Hi, Michelle. How are you doing? I talked to your daughter today, and she was very positive in all the different things that she's planning to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Shirley J. Carter, love your post. Thank you, Shirley. Daryl Grant says, hi, Eddie and Doris. Hi, Daryl. Justice Son, I can't pronounce this, join, and thank you very much for joining in. Now, I think, is it Tululu? Can you pronounce that one?
Sulu.
Tulu?
No,
Okay.
Sulu.
Tulu?
It's like a Sulu.
Sulu. Say it.
Next, the T is real quiet.
Okay, so
The
pronounce
T is
it.
real quiet.
Pronounce
Sulu.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Gilbert. And thanks for joining in. And then we have Fred Brown, and he said, you're all doing a great job.
Sulu.
And Justice said again, peace, Doris and Eddie. Salute. Justice, I'm going to learn
thank
how to
you so
pronounce your
much.
name. Pamela Renee Smith said, I went to the funeral of
Terry Cash.
and they put him away real nice.
That's beautiful. Because he was a good dude.
Yeah.
Had a big personality. We used to call him Pretty Ricky. He was a tall, light brown guy, real beautiful hair. And we call him Pretty Ricky.
Hi, Valley Ford. We talking about
What's up, girl? Your little brother say hi.
Oh, she's a great singer. She's so talented. And Valerie Ford said, hey, Eddie, so good to see you. One of the best drummers ever.
I try.
Okay. Karen M. Corbin. She joined in. Thank you, Karen, for joining in. And she's the manager of Bloodstone.
Yeah.
Okay. Benny Barksdale.
Hey, he's a bad dude.
Isn't he bad? Benny Barksdale.
Before I had my second leg amputated, I was running a jazz nightclub in Smyrna, Delaware called the Drummer's Corner.
Okay.
And Benny used to follow us every other weekend. He had his group. And man, could this cat play that horn. I would go back next day to the club on, hey man, Benny burned the house down. We still got to get next week. Say, yeah, y'all packing them in too. Come on. Yeah. But we were supposed to get together and do something together, but I'm no longer playing right now.
Okay.
But when I do, I got to get with Benny. He a bad cat.
Yeah, Benny Barksdale he's excellent. And
he bad dude.
he's so people friendly.
Yeah, he know how to bring the house down.
Yes. Okay, and Benny's saying all the best to you, Eddie.
Thank you.
And Fred Brown says, Doris, tell Gil I said hello. You look wonderful.
Yes,
Thank
you do.
Fred. Thank you. And Karen says, hello, Doris. Hello, Karen. You know I'm still waiting for you. Okay, and Shirley said, he has given a lot of musical history of West Oak Lane, Germantown, and Mount Airy.
Yeah, I love Mount Airy. You know, I will always love Mount Airy. I wanted to stay in Mount Airy, but I couldn't afford them high-ass real estate taxes up in Mount Airy. Mount Airy, they done jacked it up there.
Well, I think all of those Facebook fans and friends who join in tonight, it's really great to see you here supporting Eddie.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And everybody that's tuning in, please spread the word about the Doris Hall James Indy Show, because she gives independents a platform to expose their works and what they're doing. And then traditionally, commercial radio snubs people that aren't really big, famous, or out there like in everybody's face. So people like you keep real music alive, and we really love and appreciate what you do, and please continue to do it, because we need folks like you and more folks like you to keep this thing going.
You know,
Eddie,
that's crazy
thank you
because what he
so
just
much.
said.
Thank
that-
you, Eddie.
that's
Thank you.
Hey, check it out. That's crazy because what you just said was that they snub people who don't really have the name.
Yes.
But the big names, when they go play somewhere, who do they get to play behind them?
Yeah.
The same people you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
The snubbers, the snubbed.
Yeah, that's what they do. I listen to radio all the time, and it's always the tier one, the stars,
Right.
okay, that they interview, and they, but they don't say anything about the tier two or the tier three,
Right.
right? And so that's what Gilbert and I decided to do. That's why we
Right.
started the Indie Show. So thank you for those
Oh, you're
compliments.
quite welcome.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you were young, you were faced with challenges. Could you tell me some of those challenges?
Well,
As a young man,
I as a young man,
did your father help you get into this music business?
no.
Okay.
My father helped me by not helping me.
Mm.
Meaning that when it comes to you, your family, and your career, that's on you. Meaning that if you want something done, you got to get it done. Like, my father wasn't the type of guy to give me things.
Mm-hmm.
He gave me what I needed,
Okay.
and he took care of me, and he raised me.
Mm-hmm.
But he said, I'm going to give you a blueprint and directions.
Mm-hmm.
And it's up to you to read the blueprint, follow the directions to get the results that you need.
Excellent.
I can't do it for you. You have to do it for yourself. And one thing I can say about my parents, they had me young. They were very young.
Mm-hmm.
They were barely out of their teens when they got married and I was born. And I think that they did a great job. And one thing,
Yeah.
my mother was the main disciplinarian. Sheila ain't play. And my mother had a rule. No sons of mine are going to be bums. You going to work. And the main thing that my mom expressed to me that I pass down to my sons is accountability. Accountability is important. You are accountable
Reaction.
where you live, how you live, what you going to do. Everybody not going to be a lawyer. Everybody not going to be a doctor. Everybody not going to be in the NBA. But you're going to be something, do something. And whatever you do, try to be the best at it. Be accountable for what you do and take care of you and yours.
Yes. Yes.
And I think that if we get that message
Mm-hmm.
in all our black communities, then the crime rate and all the problems will disappear because we all we have.
Yeah.
And we have to take care of each other and be accountable for each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you're still doing your music.
Now my
You're still-
challenges
Your challenges
were
then.
health related.
Okay.
I've always been a diabetic,
Okay.
Mm.
Okay.
and dealing with that in life can be a trip. But I had a tragic accident that the loss of my left leg, which became septic infection.
Mm.
When I got sepsis, I went into a coma for 3 days. When I came out the coma, my kidneys got destroyed. So I've been on dialysis for almost 10 years now. I'm number 1 on the transplant list. So 2 years ago, I developed a condition in my right foot called Charcot foot. That's when the bones collapse and erode. That happened. I was supposed to go on tour, and I couldn't go on tour, so I wound up giving the job to somebody else. And then I had to wait 9 months to get the operation, so I wore a cast for 9 months and was in the wheelchair for 9 months. They took the cast off, and the second day, the operation that they did collapsed.
Oh, Eddie.
and infected the bone. So they amputated my right leg. So I'm now a double amputee and a kidney patient. And I have been trying to make this single since 2011, but I would get sick in and out of the hospital with pneumonia, amputations, yada, 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 yada. And I want to talk about mental health.
Okay. Before you go into mental health, you talked about let's finish with this CD.
Right. I'm in the process of finishing that now.
Okay. And it's called One and Only.
One and Only Lover.
Okay.
It's on every digital platform. You go to Eddie L. Hollman III, One and Only Lover, and you download that, and it features Carol Riddick on vocals, and the second single is called Music to Me, which features
Good. Thank you.
Lena Baker.
Okay.
Is that it right there?
Yes, that's it.
It's a good CD. It's an excellent CD.
Yeah.
And we play that on Philly Live Radio.
Thank you.
It's an excellent CD. It's an
Yes.
excellent single.
Everybody, it's a great record. Please support independent music. You can go to Tidal, Amazon, Google Play, YouTube, get it. 99 cents a track. It's not expensive. It's great, and you get it bang for your under dollar.
Okay, and you're working on
I'm working
other
on
tunes.
I'm working on other material to finish the whole project, and that'll be called Phantom Pain.
Do you know about how long that's going to be?
I'm hoping by late spring.
In the late spring.
You
we
know,
can look-
around. Pardon me.
So late spring, hopefully we can look for
Yes.
Eddie Hollman,
Third.
June the 3rd
Whole CD, yeah.
CD. And we will be playing it once we get it.
Mhm.
But for now, we are playing the single One and Only Love. And you can purchase it on social media.
Yes. On
Platforms.
all the digital downloads, Tidal, Amazon, Google Play,
Okay.
YouTube.
Okay. Okay. Now let's go back into what you want to talk about, mental health.
Well,
Okay.
after when you deal with chronic illnesses, like amputations and things happen where you lose, part of your career. Because, I was a drummer. And I was doing well, teaching. I had a full schedule of playing and teaching. And now that I can't do that psychologically got to me. And also dealing with the amputations, not moving around like you used to. Life has become a little more difficult, but I still get up and down stairs and do what I need to do.
Yeah.
But every now and then, especially in August, because of what they call post-traumatic stress, I go through severe depression where I shut down.
Okay.
I don't want to hear music. I don't want to do nothing to do with music because it's depression. And what I want to talk about is that happens in the Afro-American community, and a lot of us men, because what we've been through in this country and where we come through to get to this country, we have an inner hardness that we don't admit when we got a problem or we need help.
Yeah.
If you feel like you need to talk to somebody, go get
Yes.
help.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with getting help. Everybody needs to have a sit down every now and then with some type of mental health specialist, because basically we're all a little loose upstairs in times in our life. And you don't have to stay there, and you don't have to let your pride keep you from getting the help that you need.
Yeah.
And staying connected with a strong family, because hadn't it been for my children and my grandchildren, I'd have been gave up. My grandbabies keep me on the straight and narrow. The fact that one day I'm going to see them become grown is what I live for.
Okay.
And, it's cool being a musician. It's cool wanting to be successful. but enjoy the journey to getting to the success. Don't think that you gotta be miserable and wait to be successful to be happy. Be happy before you become successful, because being successful is being happy. And the most noble thing that you can do, like when you're a musician, you feel like you need to be vindicated, and you need to be famous. But the most noble thing that you can do to get that same feeling is to one day raise a child. That is the most precious gift and the biggest blessing in your life, is to raise somebody and nurture somebody and see them progress. Then see them have kids.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's all about your family. You know, I could have been a real big superstar and went to LA had I told my wife, look, baby, I'll be back in 8 months. I'm going to go over here and do this deal over here.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have a family, your family and your survival of your family is the most important thing.
Yes.
So I took jobs that didn't put me in the forefront in terms of look at me. It was always for me about stability. Somebody would say, I'll give you $1 million, but this got to pan out in 6 months. But somebody say, I can give you 60 grand a year right now. I had to take the 60 grand right now because the electric company, the car note, and the mortgage don't stop. And choosing your jobs is always about the stability of maintaining your family. That dictates what you're going to do.
All right. Thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you for that. Because I know, I just want to go back and talk about mental health for a moment. How important it is.
It's very important.
It's like when I was growing up, it was no mental health. You know, just get a beating.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing wrong with that
Right,
kid.
right.
Nothing wrong with that
Right.
kid. Just beat him.
Yeah, but after you know,
And that makes them hateful.
Yeah, but after I grew up and I understood what it was, okay, especially when Larry died, and I was left, I was just left, okay.
Right.
Then I had to find a way. I didn't know what to do. I had to find a way. So I decided to go back to school, okay. And when I went back to school, it was a teacher there, and he said to me, you need to get some therapy.
Right.
You need to get over this. You have to find a way to handle all the things that you're going through. And I went, and I began my therapy lessons there at Pennsylvania Hospital. Okay, and I did that for about maybe a year and a half. But each time I got stronger and stronger, and I understood, and I was able to cope with what I had.
Right.
Because your family was saying, "Oh, you're going to be all right. We'll be there." They're there for a minute, but then they're gone.
Exactly.
And then you're faced with like, what am I going to do?
Right.
So I understand how important it is. I raised my older sons. We need to go get you help. I raised my youngest sons. Come on, let's go. When I know it's time for you to go. So that is very important. They label us all kinds of.
You need therapy because it helps the healing process.
Yes.
And you learn how to manage, the grief and process it.
Yeah.
And you need to heal, because till you heal, it's hard to be productive. You can't create being depressed. And depression is like a cold, comes and go. But when you know how to deal with it, it gets easier to process it each time it comes on. And after a while, it gets used to, you get used to fighting. Life is a battle, you You have to
Yeah.
fight. If you
Yeah.
are a child of
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
you're going to get your chin tested. Your chin tested.
Mm-hmm.
If you are a child of God,
Mm.
you're going to go through pain in order for God to get his glory. And his glory is when you come through the storm and survive it.
Okay.
If you're not going through no storms, you're not progressing, you ain't a child of God. Because if everything is smooth and perfect, devil got you.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now let's go back for a moment and talk about one and only
Lover.
lover. When I
Mhm.
listened to this,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
What were you thinking about when you wrote this?
She don't know it, but I
She?
wrote, yeah,
Okay.
my wife.
Okay.
I wrote that
Okay.
song originally almost 30 years ago.
Oh. Okay.
And I wrote it about how she made me feel during our courtship stage
Okay.
when we first met. And I had been through some bad relationships, and I swore off I ain't gonna never be with no woman, I ain't gonna never get married. She came along and made me feel different. And the song was kind of real ultra personal.
Okay.
So,
Are you okay?
yeah, I burping, I'm sorry.
Okay.
So the song was too personal. I liked my chorus and my bridge, and I didn't.
Chorus and
You know, the
bridge. Yeah.
storyline to me was a little too syrupy and corny because it was about my wife. So I shelved the tune,
Okay.
and I was working on some other stuff, and I needed a co-writer with lyrics.
Okay.
So my buddy Damon Bennett referred me to a young lady named Rochelle Helm, who we call Roxy Fab. She's on Radio 1 now
Okay.
with Lady B.
That's Carl Helm.
Carl Helm's daughter. She wrote the new verses about a boyfriend at the time she was singing. And I was playing tracks for her. Said, you like this? You like that? Yeah, I write that. And I played that, and her eyes just lit up. Ooh, what you doing with that? I said, nothing. It's just
Okay.
sitting. She said, it's something I wanted Carol Reddick to record. He said, ooh, I love to write to it. She wrote to it, did a reference. We gave it to Carol. Carol liked it, and Carol came down and cut it. And then a couple of years later, I put it out.
Okay. Okay. Well, it's a great.
So
It's a great.
thank you,
great song.
Roxy, for
Thank you, Roxy.
working
Thank
with me on this. And we got more things that we're going to work on together too that aren't finished for the whole album.
Okay. Okay. Now, would you like to give some shout outs to anyone tonight?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
I would like to shout out Pamela Renee Smith
Yes. Yes.
and Val Steele
Yeah.
and
Pamela.
Teresa Lamb.
Teresa Lamb. Yeah.
And I would like to shout out Valerie Ford because
Valerie. Okay.
I got a song for you too, sister girl. As soon as
She
you
can
get finished
sing,
with
yeah.
Terry, come on over. We got to do our thing. And I would like to shout out my god uncles, Mervyn and Melvin Steels.
Okay.
The
Chairman
Steels
of board.
brothers.
Well, didn't they do some stuff?
They did Sherman and Boyd, but they also wrote the Spinners, Could It Be I'm Falling in Love.
Okay. Okay.
But they been extremely supportive of me and helped me put this project out.
Okay.
And I want to, thanks, of course, my mother and father and my wife and my children and my lovely grandchildren, whom I hope to see tomorrow.
Okay.
And all of my wife's line dance friends, the First State Steppers.
First state stepper.
They supported me because me not being able to play, for me to come up with the finances, I had to go back into my chef mode, and I
Right.
sold dinners, and they all came by and bought dinners and gave me, donations and support, and helping me put this single out. And I want to thank Mike Tarsia for a great mix and mastering. And I would like to thank my recording engineer, Richard Waller III, who I go back from day one. my cut buddy
Okay.
since we were teenagers.
Mm.
And, I want to thank you and Independent Radio and Daryl Grant and everybody that's trying to support me to get this off the ground. And I have a buddy of mine in Atlanta, Brian Barber, I want to thank because he bought the first 5 copies. And I have a cousin in Arizona, Rex Hollman. He bought 10 copies
Okay.
at the first week. So
Okay.
I want to thank everybody for their support, and I want to thank Terry Tyler, Randy Bolin, Bart French, and Damon Bennett, because those were the musicians that helped me during the sessions when we were recording the song, and Carol Riddick and Lena Baker, the poet. Thank you all.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Now I'm gonna.
Before you
Yes. Go ahead.
Eddie, Doris likes to talk about what she calls transferable skills that people learn throughout their lives.
Right.
Right? Of all of the things that you've done as a drummer,
Mm-hmm.
when the legs were taken away,
Mm-hmm.
your transferable skills right now seem to be your writing,
Writing and
Producing.
production. Yes.
producing,
Yeah.
and it's working, ain't it?
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's working.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. Feeling exhausted, and I meet with this guy on Thursday, and we write, or he writes poetry,
Mhm.
and I try to help him write
Right.
poetry.
Right.
And he said that when you feel exhausted,
Mhm.
give your burdens to God today,
Mhm.
okay, and be refreshed, and He will carry your load.
Mhm.
And that's what He's going to do. That's what He does for all of us.
Oh, he does.
Okay, He does
Without a
that for
doubt.
all of us. Now, the Indie Show is a platform to showcase and promote your musical gifts and
Mhm.
talents. Okay, We're here for you, and I always tell Facebook fans and friends.
Well,
if
you're
they're-
going to be seeing a lot of me because
Okay.
I formed my own record company called
Yes.
the Hollman Music Group,
Yeah,
and
I
I'm
have that.
starting to develop other
Other
artists.
artists, good.
And
that's
when I
good.
get the other artists,
Mhm.
records together, I would like to promote them as well, because what I'm trying to do
Mhm.
is do what Berry Gordy and Kenny Gamble did in their era, is be an independent company
Mm-hmm.
and get major distribution to showcase new, unheard talent.
That's right. Okay.
Everybody
Okay.
wants to do the big star.
I know.
I want to break a new star.
You want to break
Right.
a new star. You want
So
to
that's
give other people due.
What I'm
Yeah.
trying to do. That's why I put together To the Road Music Publishing. I got my publishing company. I got my recording studio where I can make the records. I can
Right.
produce them. I have a staff of great musicians.
Great.
And then I want to, in turn, put on other writers and other producers and build this Hollman music brand
Okay.
as a grown and sexy real music brand
Mm-hmm.
for a area in the industry that's not being tapped.
Okay.
See, they're only appealing to the kids, but it's the adults that got the money to buy records and go shows. That's a big economic base that's not being tapped, and I want to brand it grown and sexy.
Can we get
all
our
right.
own venue,
And-
please?
And can Gilbert and I be involved in that? All the
Look,
stuff. I wanna
hey,
be
look,
involved in it.
y'all, hey,
I love to write.
you can write,
Yeah.
be head of promotion,
Yeah.
whatever,
Sounds good.
But there's enough resources in this world for everybody to be successful. You don't have to worry about being the flavor of the month or being like someone else. God will make
Oh,
room
yes.
for you and your gift, and you can do you, sing your song.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't worry
Yes.
about singing somebody else's song. Sing your song.
Sing your song.
Do you, boo?
Okay, let me finish this. Next week, October 17th, 2019. I'm going to see if you remember this gentleman. We're going to feature Leon Mitchell.
Leon Mitchell. Let me
Do
tell
you
you.
remember?
Let me tell you about Leon Mitchell. Leon Mitchell is the father
Yes.
of us all.
Yes.
Leon Mitchell. If it hadn't been for Leon Mitchell, there would have been no Tom Bell. There would have been no Kenny Gamble.
Hardly
There would have been
Uptown.
There wouldn't have been no Uptown. Wouldn't have been no
Yes.
Bobby Martin.
Bobby
There would have
Martin.
been no Norman Harris. Leon Mitchell taught
Yes.
everybody how to read and write music. He's an unsung legend
Yes.
of Philadelphia.
Yes.
Guys like you and Sam Reed and Kay Williams, Senior and Junior, y'all, they need to know about y'all because y'all train everybody.
Yes.
And Morris Bailey,
Yes.
all you old triple, quadruple OGs is why us young boys got feet to stand on.
Well,
And I'm gonna tell you, Leon is an hilarious,
he is so
funny, cool dude.
And you know, he and his wife will be here. His
Miss
wife,
Elegant?
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful
and
woman.
she's a jazz singer.
Yeah, she's great.
Okay. So they're going to join us next Thursday on the 17th, and we're going to look forward to having him because he has so much musical history.
Oh, he has.
He has all that musical history.
He's the Philadelphia institution.
Yeah, he is really
You know,
great.
like far as the Clef Club and all that, he was the
He's
main
great.
cat.
And he said, when I talked to him, he said, I thought everybody forgot about. I said, no,
No.
we didn't. We will never forget about you, Leon.
Mm-mm.
Okay. And I was trying to reach him for a long time, and I finally reached him. And I said, oh, I remember you at the Uptown. Remember with the Tam? You saw us wear the Tam? Yeah.
It's called the Beatnik.
But anyway, I want to thank all of you for joining in tonight. And now, if you want to listen to some good music, and if you would like to listen to some new music with new DJs, join Philly Live Radio. It's 24/7. And you can go to the website, and that's phillyliveradio@gmail.com, and get the schedule of all the different DJs, events, and DJ shows that they're having. Okay, and I'm Doris Hall James.
I'm Eddie Hollman III. Keep indie radio alive and come support and tune in and tell your friends. Let's make this thing go viral, you know, because the more we promote each other,
Yes.
the better it becomes for us all, because we all can succeed if everybody chips in, and it's our job to help each other.
Thank you, Eddie. Love you.
You're welcome. Love you too.
Love you.
All right, Doris.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Are we out?
We're
Yeah.
out.
And
Thank
we
you.
out.
Listen to the